This is another podcast from Alpha Business Media. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're diving deep into, well, a really fascinating case study. It's about digital transformation in Nepal, a country that's truly at a crossroads. You've shared some incredible sources with us, a detailed study, lots of data, challenges, and some surprising successes, too.
Yeah, what's really fascinating here, I think, is how Nepal's journey mirrors a universal challenge for many developing economies. So how do you bridge that gap, the one between these deep-rooted traditional sectors and just the sheer speed of digital advancement? Our mission for this deep dive really is to pull out the most important insights, understand the specific pain points on the ground, and explore the exact IT solutions that are making a real difference.
Absolutely. We'll look at, well, everything. Their digital foundations, government ambitions, quite ambitious, some of them, and also the everyday struggles of, farmers, hoteliers, shopkeepers. And then there's this surprising bit how the local IT sector, even though it's successful globally, really needs to look inward. So you'll walk away from this deep dive with hopefully a clear picture of Nepal's digital transformation scene and maybe even some lessons for similar places worldwide. So let's start right at the beginning. Nepal's digital foundation. But data here, it seems a bit contradictory, doesn't it? You see official reports claiming over 100% internet penetration. But then other analyses say it's more like, 49.6% actual users? What's going on?
That really raises a key point straight away. It's the difference between subscriptions and unique users. It's quite common. Many Nepalese, they have multiple SIM cards. So this leads to what people call a usage gap. The critical thing here isn't just about access anymore. It's about meaningful use. Sure, mobile connections are everywhere, 120.6%, clearly mobile-first digitalization. But, and this is staggering, 91% of Nepali adults can't do basic digital tasks, things like copying and pasting.
91%. Wow.
Yeah, it highlights a massive digital literacy challenge and a really sharp divide, too. Urban versus rural, men versus women.
That's a huge hurdle. I mean, how realistic is widespread adoption of complex IT then if basic skills are lacking? But okay, on the policy side, the government seems to be trying to adapt. Tell us about the Digital Nepal framework. What's the story there?
Right, it's a good question. And the Digital Nepal Framework, the DNF, it's actually a great example of strategic evolution, learning from experience. DNF 1.0 back in 2019 was, let's say, very ambitious. 80 initiatives, 8 sectors, but it hit roadblocks, systemic problems like weak coordination between agencies, lack of funding, even just not enough technical people. So that led to DNF 2.0. And this version is much more pragmatic, focused. It centers on 4 core enablers. They use the acronym FAST. Future-ready digital foundations, access to digital services, skills in digital literacy, and transformation of the digital economy. It shows a shift, from a big wish list to actually building the foundation first.
That makes sense. Pragmatism over just ambition. And we've already seen a hint of what's possible, right? The fintech revolution, that really proves the concept.
Absolutely. The success there is phenomenal. Platforms like Isewa, Kalti, the PhonePay network, it just demonstrates a key principle, and this applies everywhere, not just Nepal. When a digital solution is convenient, when it solves a real problem like getting rid of cash, and this is crucial, when it's trusted, people jump on board fast.
Millions of users, quickly.
Exactly. It was powerful proof. It shows the barrier isn't some cultural resistance to tech. It's practical stuff.
Yeah.
Utility and trust.
Okay, so the foundation's being laid, maybe slower than hoped, but it's happening. And there's an appetite for useful digital tools. Now let's turn to those traditional sectors, the backbone of the economy: agriculture, tourism, retail. Our sources dig into the specific problems. What about agriculture?
Well, if we look at the big picture, agriculture employs, over 80% of the population, but it suffers from low productivity. Lots of subsistence farming, something like 76%, mainly farm for themselves.
Wow, 76%.
Yeah. And farmers face huge issues. Poor infrastructure, really difficult market access. It often forces them to sell to middlemen at really low prices. It gets so bad you see these protests where they literally dump vegetables on the road.
Oh man, that's rough.
It is. Plus, you've got extreme land fragmentation because of inheritance rules, lots of inefficient traditional farming methods still in use, and a real lack of timely info. Weather forecasts, market prices, makes them incredibly vulnerable, especially with climate change.
A really tough situation. Okay, shifting gears.
Yeah.
Tourism. So much potential there, obviously, with the Himalayas and the culture. What are the hurdles?
Tourism, yeah, huge potential, but also highly vulnerable. External shocks hit hard earthquakes, political instability, you name it. And there's a big infrastructure gap. Poor roads, like the main highway to Kathmandu, ongoing worries about air safety. And what's interesting is this focus historically on backpackers, which is fine, but it leads to really low average daily spending, just $41 per tourist.
Only $41 a day.
Yeah. And many hotels, particularly the smaller family-run places, they're still doing reservations manually, in notebooks.
No kidding.
Leads to double bookings, makes it hard to manage their online presence on sites like Booking.com, add weak digital marketing, no strong country branding. It makes it tough to compete with, say, Thailand, or even leverage being next door to China and India.
Right. Struggling to turn that potential into actual profit. Okay, and finally, retail. Those small family-run Kirana shops everywhere. What are they up against?
The retail sector's feeling serious economic pressure right now. Rising interest rates, high rents, people spending less because of the downturn. Many small shops are closing. And the vast majority, they're still tracking inventory and sales manually.
Yeah.
Notebooks.
Still with the notebooks.
Exactly. Imagine trying to optimize your stock or understand cash flow like that. Real-time optimization. Impossible. Effective financial management. Really hard. And this ties into another big issue. Trust in e-commerce. The pandemic gave it a boost, sure. But now platforms like Daraz, Deal, they're struggling. Why? Consumer distrust. Poor quality goods, missed deliveries, nightmare refund processes.
Ah, the trust issue again.
And it's made worse by a lack of specific e-commerce law. So consumers feel unprotected dealing with this complex, unregulated system.
Okay, so we've laid out a lot of problems across these key sectors. Now, the important part, the solutions. What does digital transformation actually look like for these businesses? Does it have to be some massive, expensive project?
No, absolutely not. Actually, the most effective transformation often starts small, with fundamental practical tools. For retail, for restaurants, think point-of-sale POS systems and inventory management. Automate sales tracking, manage stock in real time. Local developers like IMS Software are already providing these tailored solutions. We're even seeing things like RFID being explored for inventory.
Okay, basic but crucial stuff.
Exactly. And for hotels, hotel management systems, or PMS, they're basically like an ERP for hospitality. They centralize everything, bookings, managing your rooms across different online travel agencies, the lot.
And we have a really good concrete example of this working, don't we? A quick win.
Yes, Hotel Haranya in Nepal, it's a great little case study. They implemented a cloud-based PMS from a company called Hotelogix, and they saw results fast. A 20% increase in revenue, a 10% increase in direct bookings.
Wow, 20% revenue increase.
Yeah, it directly solved their big problems.
Yeah.
Managing room availability manually across different websites and the constant risk of double booking. Quick, measurable ROI.
It really shows the power of just targeting one specific pain point first.
Precisely.
So here's where it gets really interesting, especially for those smaller businesses. Software as a service, or SaaS. This sounds like it could be a real game changer for businesses that don't have a lot of capital. How does it work for them?
Yeah, the SaaS model, it's a fantastic equalizer for SMEs, especially when capital is tight. It gets rid of those big upfront costs. No need to buy servers or expensive software licenses. Instead, businesses pay a subscription, usually monthly or annually, much more manageable, and they get access to powerful tools.
Pay as you go, basically.
Exactly. And we're seeing industry-specific examples pop up, particularly in agri-tech, which is vital for Nepal. Platforms like Krishi Guru give farmers crucial info prices, weather, best practices. GeoKrishi offers data-driven advice for climate-smart farming, partnering with cooperatives to reach more farmers.
That makes sense, partnering up.
For retail and distribution, there's Delta Sales app, helps manage field sales teams for FMCG companies, automating orders, tracking payments. And you see this growing ecosystem of local tools, task managers, client managers, lead managers, sort of like a business assistant for SMEs, someone on Reddit called it, even local website builders.
So scalable, affordable tools are emerging. And for those really big, unique problems, local IT companies are stepping up with some seriously transformative custom solutions, right?
Absolutely. I mean, look at F1 Soft International. They basically built Nepal's entire digital payment system with eSewa and PhonePe. That clearly proves local companies can build these huge transformative platforms. And it points to future stuff like neobanking, account aggregator services that simplify your digital financial life.
Right.
Then you have Leapfrog technology, globally known for AI, data analytics, working for huge international clients in healthcare, fintech. That expertise, it could be directly applied right there in Nepal. Tourism analytics, predicting crop yields. Imagine that. Plus, they're involved in local education, building talent.
That's crucial, too.
And Deerhold, Massive development center in Kathmandu, specializing in big data analytics for U.S. healthcare. That's a national asset. Could be used for public health in Nepal or other data-heavy sectors.
Okay, so Nepal has this incredible IT sector, world-class, pulling in over $500 million in exports. Companies like Cloud Factory, Leapfrog, Deerhold, global players. Sounds amazing. But there's a catch, isn't there? You hinted at it.
There is. It creates this significant paradox, almost a dangerous blind spot. The IT sector's intense focus on those profitable exports means the domestic market, especially local SMEs, gets largely ignored. You even see user reviews, like on Reddit, describing local IT companies as poorly managed on their internal or domestic projects. Someone used the local slang "towel tool," basically meaning mess or disorder, to describe the quality.
Ouch. Talto.
Yeah, there seems to be a lack of solution-oriented thinking for products for Nepal itself. Companies often take the easy way out. Just doing outsourcing work for foreign clients who provide very clear requirements. Even the government's IT Decade program seems mostly aimed at boosting exports.
So hold on. Nepal has the talent, the tech skills, the capacity to solve its own deep-rooted problems. But that talent is mostly busy solving problems for other countries. That feels like a huge missed opportunity, like having a world-class surgeon in town who only operates on tourists.
That's a great analogy. Exactly. And the article proposes a solution. It calls it the flywheel effect.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing the domestic market as, secondary, less important, the IT sector should see it strategically as a primary growth engine.
Okay, how does that flywheel work?
Well, by creating affordable, effective, and crucially, locally relevant SaaS products, specifically for Nepalese SMEs, this directly improves the efficiency of the traditional economy, makes those farmers, hoteliers, retailers more productive, more competitive. Then that increased efficiency and profitability creates a new large-scale domestic market for IT services. It becomes a sustainable revenue stream for the IT companies themselves.
Ah, I see. So improving the local economy creates the market.
Precisely. And then the final turn of the flywheel. These made in Nepal products, tested, refined, hardened in Nepal's unique conditions. They can then be successfully exported to other developing countries that face very similar challenges. It builds this virtuous cycle, diversifies the whole national economy, makes it more resilient, more self-reliant.
That's a really compelling vision, a powerful flywheel. Okay, this brings us neatly to the roadmap forward. For those traditional businesses, the farmers, the shopkeepers, the hoteliers, what's the key takeaway, the actionable message for starting their digital journey?
I think the key message for them, especially SMEs, is just demystify it. Digital transformation isn't one massive, terrifying, expensive leap. It's about small steps. Start small. Solve one problem first. Use tools that are free or cheap, maybe already familiar, like WhatsApp Business for customer communication and marketing, or setting up a Google Business profile, immediate visibility online.
Simple things, immediate impact.
Exactly. Identify your single biggest pain point. Is it inventory? Bookings? Payments? Then find one simple, affordable SaaS tool that tackles that. Think back to Hotel Haranya. They solved one specific issue, saw results, gained confidence, get that proof of concept for your business, however small it seems.
Right. Start small, get a win. Okay, and for the IT sector itself, it sounds like a real strategic call to action, maybe even you said a moral imperative, to build for Nepal first.
Precisely. IT companies really need to allocate dedicated resources, R&D, to properly understand the specific needs, the constraints, the realities of local SMEs in agriculture, tourism, retail. Develop products that are scalable, affordable, and absolutely mobile first, given the landscape we discussed. And products that genuinely address local needs. They need to collaborate, too, with industry associations, government bodies, to promote and actually implement these tools. And fundamentally shift their mindset. View the domestic market as a core strategic pillar, not just a distraction from exports. It builds a stronger company and ultimately a stronger country. It's about that long-term vision.
Build for Nepal, build resilience. Makes sense. And finally, the government agencies. What's their critical role in actually making all this happen? What do they need to do?
Well, probably their most important task is bridging that huge usage gap we talked about earlier. That means aggressively funding and rolling out nationwide digital literacy programs. And these have to target the right groups: rural areas, women, farmers, small business owners.
Because without the skills.
Exactly. Without the skills, the best internet in the world is useless. They also desperately need to build trust. That means finally passing the long-delayed e-commerce bill. That's vital. Create a safe, predictable environment for online business. Protect consumers. Address that trust deficit head-on. And strengthen cybersecurity alongside it.
Okay, literacy and trust. What else?
Reliability. fix the infrastructure weaknesses that cause those frequent internet outages. They're not just annoying, they cost businesses real money, up to 2.1% of annual sales lost. That's huge.
Wow.
And finally, actively encourage local adoption. Use policy levers, tax incentives, maybe subsidies for adopting local software, government procurement rules that favor Nepali-developed solutions. That's how you really kickstart that flywheel effect and create sustainable demand within the domestic IT market.
What a deep dive this has been into Nepal's digital ambitions, the incredible potential locked within its traditional sectors, from farmers struggling with middlemen, to Kirana stores using notebooks. It's clear the solutions are available, and crucially, the local talent is right there.
Yeah, the story of Nepal's digital transformation, it really offers a compelling blueprint, not just for Nepal, but for so many emerging economies. And it leaves us with a question, maybe for you, our listener. If a country like Nepal, with all its unique challenges, its strong traditional roots, if it can envision and actually start executing this kind of strategic digital shift, what does that imply for other economies at similar crossroads? How can these lessons about trust, about practical, affordable solutions, about empowering local talent, how can they be applied more universally to really bridge the global digital divide and unlock economic potential everywhere?